Yeah, sure.
Hello, this is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Discover Brightside, the video channel. And today, we are doing Empower Prosperity. But we cannot start prosperity without talking about our children because our children play a big role and we have to think about them first before we think about any other audience. And so I have with me today Stacy. So, Stacy, please share your story. Tell us about you and what you do.
Sure. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. Excited to share what I do with everybody. So I am a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in the field for about 30 years, and I have a large group practice where we do a lot of therapy for age 5 through the elderly. And so we have evolved over the years to really being a practice that specializes in working with children and teens because that's what's walking through the door. My journey over the years has really moved towards the need. I always like to go where the need is. And when I see that's the social worker in me, when I see there's a lot going on around us and there's a lot going on in the environment. I really want to be able to kind of step in and lean into the community and do what, the community needs. And so we're seeing an enormous uptick in anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation with our children and our teenagers now at the point where it is really concerning. And I'm not going to say this is new, that it's never been there. It's always been there. But over the last 5 years, we've really kind of morphed from being a group practice that's, spans across Long Island into a practice that specializes in children and adolescents, just because that's who's calling every day. All day long, parents are calling and saying, my child has anxiety, my child has depression, my child's being bullied, I can't get my child to go to school. There's an enormous uptick in school refusal, which has really led our practice to doing a partnership with the schools, which we're doing now not only on Long Island, but across New York State, where we are doing a lot of school-based mental health work, working with the districts, doing a lot of trainings for school social workers and psychologists, for teachers, for administrative staff, putting programs in place and having a place where the children can come to in the community for outside therapies and really just showing up where the crisis is. Because the schools at this point, what they're saying to me is, we don't know what to do. We don't have enough social workers in the school or psychologists in the school to be able to meet the need, and we don't have the budget to be able to hire all the people that we would need. And so we're really putting a lot of policies in place that are more proactive instead of reactive, really trying to teach the teachers that something as simple as shifting your language or the way you approach the child, really having more of a trauma-informed, trauma-responsive lens, to see children as a whole person living in a whole system. And that, if we can kind of look at them from the perspective of what is their story and what is happening in their world, what is happening for them, what is happening to them instead of what is wrong with them, we're seeing huge shifts, for the kids. What really breaks my heart is that over the summer, a lot of children drop out of therapy, or they take a break from therapy because they're feeling regulated and they're feeling a sense of calm. And they're like, well, you know what? I'm doing okay. I need to take a break. And then September, October rolls around, and guess what? Phone's ringing off the hook, and they're all back in therapy. School should not be a place that puts kids into therapy, and I don't think the schools want that. I really don't. I meet these social workers. I just did a full day training for a school district on Monday, and I met with 40 social workers and psychologists in that district, and they really care about these kids. They want to do the right thing and they want to help, but they're not because they don't have the proper training. So there's so much that we can do. And I feel so blessed and grateful. Talk about prosperity and abundance. I feel very abundant to be in a position, and I feel so lucky and grateful to be in this position where I can take my 30 years of experience and really step into more of a macro role out of the micro role I've been in all these years and say, what does this community need and what can I do for them? And I feel really blessed to be able to do that.
So how can people reach you? What's your website, and what kind of support are you asking from the community?
Sure. So we could be reached a variety of ways. My counseling center, if you are in New York, and we can do in person or virtual, so you don't have to be on Long Island for us to work with you, is longislandcounselingservices.com. So that website is my group practice. We have 5 locations and we are also virtual. But our school services really can be something that we do anywhere in the country. So if a school is struggling and needs help, definitely reach out. And that is districtsupportservices.com. We have a variety of services through district support services. We do a lot of suicide prevention by monitoring alerts that school districts have with the filters in their Google Classroom. If a child types something in like, I'm thinking about killing myself or is suicide okay? We get those alerts, our pages go off, and we will call the family immediately and work with them. So we're doing that all across the country. So it's a lot of really tapping into the mental health of our youth and doing a lot of suicide prevention trainings, PDs for staff, everything. So districtsupportservices.com, you can reach us from anywhere.
That is amazing, especially when you think about all these shootings going on in schools as well. With a Google
Yeah.
alert, you could get help right away and you don't have to wait for
And
uh
we catch those, unfortunately both, right? We do,
yeah.
we do, we do have, kids that are searching school shooters and all sorts of things, and we're able to call the family. Sometimes we have to call the police, we'll call the district and let them know before that child walks back into the building the next morning.
So it's amazing how technology now is doing so much to get help right away. Thank you, Stacy. Stay as long as you can, and I
Sure.
understand that you have to leave, but thank you so much for giving us this valuable information. And yes, mental health is very important. Write to your councilman, write to your state legislation, write to the leaders, write to your mayor. Tell them that we need to put mental health awareness and we need more therapists in schools to talk to children to get the
Yes.
children the help that they need. So I
Yeah.
want you to write us a comment, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, and tell them that we need help in schools and we need to be there for the future of our generations, which is our children. Thank you very much, Stacy. I'm so glad this was so valuable for you to be on our show.
Yeah. Thank you
So
for having me.
yes, next up I have I'm going to just quickly stop recording.